Well, good morning.
Good morning.
How in the world are you guys today? Okay. I'm going over here. Y'all not talking to me. How are you all today? Anybody feel good over here? What a beautiful day. Beautiful day. We are in a series called Guardrails. Guardrails. Today we're looking at something really incredible. My wife deals with tons of customers. She had a customer who told her a story a while back. It's not somebody from here, somebody that any of us would know. But she was telling this story, and it reminded me of stories I'd heard from so many other people. She was talking about her daughter, who when she was a freshman or a sophomore in high school was having a hard time finding out where she fit in, and she began to hang around with the wrong crowd at school. And by the time she was a senior, she was basically a drug addict. She learned from the kids that she hung around that that was the way to go, and so she went into rehab. She came out of rehab clean, and as long as she could stay and keep herself with the right people, she did great. But as soon as she began to hang around with those old friends again, the habit came back. And so it's just been a series since then of going to rehab, coming out, doing well, getting back into drugs, and going back into rehab. And it's a story we've all heard, or it's a story we're all familiar with. Maybe we've had somebody in our family, maybe we know somebody who's had somebody in their family, but it's just the way things seem to be. I mean, we talk with our kids all the time, don't we? You know, be careful who you hang around with. Be careful where you go, because the people that you spend time with are really going to determine where your life goes. We talk to our kids all the time. We think it's emotional. We think it's sociological, because just hanging with the wrong crowd takes you in the wrong direction. But just recently, they have found something out. They've done research on the brain, and they've looked at brain waves. You know that all of us have brain waves that are just going everywhere. But they took people who spent time together, and they looked at their brain waves, and they found something out that was really, truly shocking and amazing. Their brain waves went in the same direction. Their brain waves went in the same direction. So it isn't just emotional. It isn't just sociological. It is physical. The people that we hang out with, our minds line up with them, and our brains go in the same way. I mean, that makes it even worse, doesn't it? We've got a physical reason why we should be careful about who we hang out with. We need to tell our kids, don't we? But there's a thing that we neglect. We neglect ourselves. See, we want our kids to do the right things, because the way they grow up is going to be determined by the friends that they have. But we forget that the same is true of us exactly. The people we hang out with, our brains will begin to line up with them, and we will begin to act like them and be like them. And so totally what we become is dependent upon the people that we hang out with. Today we're going to talk about that a little bit. We're going to talk about friends, the people that we allow into our lives. And some of us could easily say, one of the worst mistakes I ever made was letting some people into my life, because it took me in a different direction. But we talked a little bit about guardrails last week. We talked about the fact that guardrails are a system that's designed to keep cars or vehicles from getting off the road at bridges, overpasses, curves. The guardrail is there to keep us directed and protected. We talked a little bit about guardrails last week, but today I want to talk about guardrails with our friends. And the truth is, most of us don't even think about it. Most of us don't even think about our own lives. We're worried about others. We're worried about those drug addicts who hang out with other drug addicts and go in that direction. But did you know that your life and my life is almost totally determined by who we choose to hang out with? Where we end up, where we get to, is determined by the friends, the people that we want to relate to, determine where we go. So this morning, here's what I want to do. I'm going to share with you 5 statements, and we're going to look at them. Proverbs 13 says this: walk with the wise and become wise. Associate with fools and get in trouble. Walk with the wise and become wise. Now see, here's an amazing thing that we don't really believe, I guess, that much. But if you and I hang out with wise people, we'll be wise. If we hang out with different type of people, we will become whatever that different type of people is. To be wise, all we got to do is hang out with the wise. I have some people that I'm beginning to say, I need to spend more time with them because they're wise in this area. I want to be wise like they are in that area. And so I'm trying to begin to do that right now. I'm trying to develop some guardrails that will take me in that way. But look at the second half of that. Associate with fools and get in trouble. You would think it'd say, associate with fools and become a fool. But it's much worse than that. It isn't just being a fool, it's getting into trouble. That ever happened to you? Did you ever hang out with some people and they got you into trouble? Got you into things that you wish you'd never gotten into? If you had it to do over again, you probably avoided them just a little bit. We're going to look at 5 statements today. And these 5 statements hopefully are going to lead us to examine our lives and find out, do we need some guardrails? You ready to go? Let's look at them. Statement number 1. When it dawns on you that your core group, the people you hang with, isn't moving in the direction you want your life to be going. It's kind of like this. You've got an appointment in Oklahoma City, and you need to get to Oklahoma City. So you go and get in the car with your friends, and instead, they take you to Wichita Falls. You're going exactly the wrong direction. Well, I would never do that. I would know it immediately. But see, we don't know it immediately with our lives. We don't take stock of where we're really wanting to be, of what it is we're really wanting to become. And so we hang out with people. Now see, this seems judgmental. Well, you're judging my friends. No, not at all. This isn't about our friends at all. This is about us. Where we want to be, not where they want to be. We allow them to go wherever they want to be. But will we choose for ourselves, or will we follow them? Your core group isn't moving in the direction you want your life to be moving. Years ago, many years ago, we were in a church. And there were good people, and then there were people who loved to gossip. I mean, it became rampant. These people discovered that, all you had to do was gossip and say it over long enough and loud enough, and people would begin to believe you. They were a small group at first, but then some of the good people began to hang out with them. And before long, the good people were listening to the gossip, and then eventually they began to share the gossip. And the pastor didn't do anything about it, didn't address it. And before long, the church split and went in 2 different directions. And before long after that, the church that had been there and reached so many people and done so many good things was gone. And now most of the people that used to go to it don't even go to church now. They're not involved in anything now directing their lives. Now, if you'd taken that at the start and said, listen, where do you want to be? Do you want to split the church, or do you want to go in a direction that's going to be good for your life? Everybody said, I want to go in a direction that's good for my life. But now it's gone. The church has been split because people didn't think about it. When it dawns on you that your core group isn't moving the direction you want your life to be moving. Have you ever thought about that? I'm challenging you to think about it right now. Your friends, the people that you're surrounding yourself with, are they going in the direction you want your life to go? It might be a time to look at a guardrail, to come up with something that would keep us directed and protected and moving in the right area. Let's go to statement number 2. When you catch yourself pretending to be someone other than who you really are. See, this is kind of a step-by-step thing that we go into here. When you find yourself pretending to be someone other than who you really are. A guy finds a girl and she loves the opera, and he says, oh, I love the opera too, and he takes her to the opera and those sort of things, and you know it's eventually not going to work out. When I was in college, early in college, I began to date a girl who was in rodeos, barrel racing, that sort of thing. Now, I don't know if you know me well, but I am as far from a cowboy as you're ever going to find. But I dated her. And so I needed to begin to like the things she liked. So all the tapes, at that time it was 8-track tapes, you put the 8-track tapes in your car that you played all the time, and I put country music in there. Horrible thing. But for the next year or two, I listened to country music. I was into it. I never bought the boots, okay? Never bought the boots. But I did actually buy a cowboy hat. It was denim. I don't know if you've ever seen one of those, the hokiest thing you've ever seen. But I wore a denim cowboy hat. But I was compromising on who I wanted to be for somebody else. It didn't work out. Are you surprised? When you catch yourself pretending to be someone other than who you really are. Maybe your friends like to overuse alcohol. Maybe your friends like to spend too much time in clubs or at the casino. Do you catch yourself pretending that you like it? Because if you do, you may need a guardrail. You may need something that says, listen, this isn't taking me where I need to go. I need something that will direct me and protect me. Let's go to statement number 3. Number 3, when you feel pressure to compromise. Well, compromise isn't a bad thing, is it? I mean, in America, if some politicians on one side and the other would just compromise and solve some problems, that'd be a great thing, wouldn't it? But this isn't talking about solving problems. This is talking about compromising what I believe, what my values are, where I really want to go, and where I really want to be. And I will compromise and kind of go in the other direction. See, we don't think about it, but it happens. The people I hang out with, where they're going, is going to determine where I'm going. What they believe in is going to determine what I eventually believe in. Because friends are so incredibly powerful. Have you ever compromised for your friends? Have you ever thought, well, it's not that big a deal. I can go in that way. I'll listen to country music. I'll wear a cowboy hat. It may be a sign that you need some guardrails to help you get where you want to get. Let's go to statement number 4. When you catch yourself thinking, I'll go, but I won't participate. You don't necessarily agree with where they're going, but you'll go with them just to show them that you're a friend, but you won't participate. Now think with me for a minute. You have a teenage daughter. She comes into you and she says, listen, they're having a party Friday night. They got some cakes and beer that they're going to have there, and there are going to be guys and girls there, and some of them are going to be involved in sex, and some of them are going to get drunk and things like that, but I'm not going to. I'm going to go, but I won't participate. And you would go, well, God bless you. Just go and have a good time. You wouldn't do it, would you? Because you know what's going to happen. You go to places like this, you go to places that are off your values, you're going to lose your values as you go. Now, it's easy to think about with teenagers. Not so easy to think about with you and I, is it? Exactly the same thing will happen with me as with a teenage me. We don't grow out of it. Hopefully we make some better choices, we get some better guardrails, but without the guardrails, we end up going in the wrong direction. And you know what? I've heard people say, well, I'll go and do those things because I'm trying to win that person to my way. It doesn't happen. It never happens. You go to places you don't feel you should be. You get with a group who's doing things that you think they shouldn't do. They're never going to turn and follow you. Because there's more of them, and your brain waves begin to go in their direction. Carla walked upon a group of teenagers years ago. And it was a pretty good example of just the opposite of this. She heard two teenagers talking. They were getting ready to take a group of teenagers to Oklahoma City for something. I don't even know what it was. And one of the teenagers said, well, I'll take my car. And the other teenager said, no, that's not going to happen. He said, why won't you ever let me take my car? I always ride with you all, but you all won't let me take my cars and ride with me. And this other kid said, well, you smoke marijuana. There's going to be marijuana in your car. If we get pulled over, we're all going to get arrested. We're not going to do that. You can ride with us, but we're not riding with you. Whoa, what an amazing thing. That kid had some guardrails, didn't he? You know, you can go with us, but we're not going with you. We're not going to participate in it. Do you need some guardrails like that? Statement number 5. When you hope the people you care about don't know your whereabouts. Y'all have been teenagers at one time, right? Some of you are. When you were a teenager, did you ever go someplace that you didn't want your mom or dad or whoever was in charge of you to know? And if you didn't, or you say you didn't, you're a liar. Now, I'm not sure about Carla, because Carla was so good that when she did something wrong, she went home and immediately told. I never told. When I did something wrong, I wanted people to think I was good and I always did the right thing. And my mom still doesn't know. So if she comes here someday, don't say anything about me. Where you go determines so much. The places that I went that my parents didn't want me to go never led me to anything good. Didn't make it any better. My life wasn't better for it. I wasn't exactly what I wanted to be. Same thing happens to us as adults. We sometimes go places that we don't feel we should be. We sometimes get involved in things that don't go with our values. We say, well, we'll just kind of compromise today. But we won't really go in that way. But remember, our brain waves begin to go with those that we hang out with. If we want to learn how to get where we want to go, we need to begin to surround ourselves with people who are going in that direction. I'm pastoring a church. We've started it from nothing and we're going forward and it's gone pretty well. But one of the things that I've realized is this. I'm not spending enough time with people who've started churches and have taken them forward. I don't spend enough time talking with them. My brainwaves often get sideways and other things because of what I do or who I hang out with. But if I want to go forward, I need to get with people who are going forward. If I want to be wise, I need to go with people who are wise. Look at this verse of Scripture. This is something that I really think that Jesus said in response to something. Jesus, from the moment he began to teach, the Pharisees, the Sadducees, the religious leaders, the big dogs in society, did not like it. They objected to everything. They said, no, that's not the way you go. Let's try to trap Jesus here. Let's try to get him here. And they did it constantly. And I think in Luke chapter 7, Jesus finally responds to it. Now, this isn't a huge verse. Most of you don't have this memorized. Most of you may have read it before, but you don't even know what's in there. But listen to what he said. But wisdom is shown to be right by the lives of those who follow it. Wisdom is shown to be right by the lives of those who follow it. Well, no, this is right or this is right. No. Jesus said, I'll tell you what is good. Look at the lives of those who have followed wisdom, and it turns out right. I'm just beginning to understand that. I'm beginning to be able to look at my life and see, gosh, that's true. Because my life is different. About 35, 36 years ago, Carla and I got married. It was the greatest thing that ever happened to me. Because Carla was a much more centered person than I was, much more spiritual, much closer to God. We began to develop some guidelines, some guardrails, like with people. I would never get in a car alone with another woman. I would never meet alone with another woman and have the door closed. Usually, when someone comes in to see me, they come into my office. If they want to talk about something in counseling, I go get Parker, or if my wife is around, I go get her. There are guardrails that I have to keep me going in the right direction. We have some financial guardrails. We use credit cards just like anybody else because we use them and we get money returned on them, but we do something that's different. Every month, we pay off totally every credit card we've used that month. I mean, we can use it for gas, we can use it for other things, but at the end of the month, it must be paid off. If we ever have a month, which is a guardrail we set up, where we don't pay it off, we destroy that card. It's been amazing since we began to do that, and that didn't come from me, by the way. I know you're surprised, but since we've begun to do that, we've never had financial problems. We always pay our bills. We always get things taken care of. We don't spend money that we don't have. It's a guardrail that has led us in the right direction. We've got guardrails about friends as well. We have not chosen our friends, our best friends, the people that we hang out with most, to be individuals. Carter doesn't choose a woman. I don't choose a man who is not related to a woman or a spouse of a woman that we can grow together with. Now, it doesn't mean that we don't have friends. We do have friends. But the people that we actually surround ourselves with, the people that we hang out with, are couples. So that we can keep moving in the direction we want to go. That we can stay on track. And have you noticed the guardrails on bridges, on overpasses, at curves? There's a lot of dents in them. And there's lots of paint along them. Because humans have a tough time staying where they're supposed to be. But guardrails, not only do they keep us kind of where we're supposed to be, and they damage our car a little bit when we run into them, but it isn't near the damage that it would be if we went off the bridge, if we missed the curve. It protects us and keeps us going the right way. I can say that one of the things that has made a difference in my life, and that is still making a difference in my life, has been guardrails. So here's what I want you to think about. Are there some guardrails you need to establish? Are there some things that you need to talk over with somebody who's significant to you and say, listen, here's some guardrails. What can we do to kind of keep us going in the right direction? Now, if you're here today and you're not a believer in Jesus, you're not a follower of Jesus, that's fine. Guardrails are important to you. It doesn't matter whether you're a follower of Jesus or not a follower of Jesus. Guardrails will help you go in the direction you want to go. Jesus said, I've come to give you life, a life that is rich and abundant. But even if you don't want the life Jesus has for you, you should want guardrails. So this week, I want you to think about that. Now, if you're not a Christian, if you are a Christian, if you are a follower of Jesus, if you've said, Jesus, I want to go in your direction, he's going to help you set up guardrails. He's going to talk to you about it. He's going to give you some ideas as you talk with your spouse about where you need to go. Or somebody that is significant in your life that says, these are some things that I think will protect us and move us in the right direction. Now, if you don't know Jesus, I will say this. Having him on your side is absolutely the best thing in the world. It's not about religion. It's not about the church. It's about you. And Jesus has said, I want to help you find the best life for you. The life that is the most successful for you. Now that doesn't mean incredible riches. It doesn't mean that there are no problems, because we live in a broken world and we will always deal with problems here. But Jesus says, I'll take you on the right path. So you may want to follow him. If you ever want to do that, all you have to do to begin to follow Jesus is talk with God. And you say, God, I've screwed up my life. I've gone in directions, I've hung out with people, I've done things that I shouldn't have done, that haven't resulted in me being where I want to be. And I'm sorry. Forgive me. Would you help me? Would you help me figure out the right way to go? Would you kind of keep me on track? Would you send Jesus to me, to live in me, to be there all the time, to talk with me and show me the right way? If you do that, you've just established the most important relationship you will ever have. You don't have to go through a 20-step program. You don't have to do anything except accept the invitation that God has given you. Let's pray. Father, thank you for your word, and thank you for the truth about guardrails. Lord, I pray that I've spoken your words in a way that people can understand. I pray that you take it and work in their lives and help them begin to establish the guardrails you have for them. I just pray it in Jesus' name. Amen. So this week, here's your assignment. Look at your life. Look at who you're hanging out with. Look at where you really want to be. And determine what guardrails you'll set up with your friends to help you get there. Have a great week. I'm so glad you came.